All right. What's up, everybody? All my people in Manhattan, the Boogie Down Bronx, Queens, all the way out to Staten Island, my homeborough Brooklyn. It's five boroughs versus everybody. I'm back at with another video. This one's gonna be on hood movies and hood films and what happened to them. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I love everybody's seen one of these hood movies on the screen. Set It Off, Boys in the Hood, Friday, Menace to Society, Poetic Justice, Juice. Everybody's seen at least one of these films. Of course, everybody's seen Friday. Okay, so I don't care who you are. Everybody can quote one line from that movie. But I wanted to do this video because I really love these movies. Like I said, I grew up on them. Even though these movies were made in the '90s and early 2000s. I was born in the early 2000s, so I can't relate to it fully. But I can because it's still the hood. You know what I'm saying? Growing up in Brooklyn, living in the central eastern Brooklyn area where those are the really hoods left in Brooklyn. Everywhere else is all gentrified and soft and shit. But that's another video for another day. But I can relate to these movies, especially the ones that were based in New York. So I love Boys in the Hood, which of course based in L.A. But movies like New Jack City, which is set in Harlem. My pops grew up in Harlem. You know what I'm saying? I still got family up there and uptown. So I can kind of relate to this movie in a way. So basically people wonder like what happened to these type of movies or what stopped. See what happened. And to me, in my opinion, ATL was kind of like the last good hood movie. And ATL came out in 2006. I don't really like Superfly, that movie that came out a couple years ago with Trevor Jackson. It was a good movie. Why say it's a hood classic? No. Like these movies, absolutely not. Like I said, Juice, Boys in the Hood, New Jack City, South Central. These are legendary films. But and they were in high demand in the '90s. There were like 5-8 hood movies released every year in the '90s. It's kind of hard to say what happened to. To say what happened to him, I don't know. I think people just kind of got tired of it. Same old narrative, it's 4 friends or 3 friends, then to do with his girl, somebody gets killed and shit like that. Then there's one person remaining or 2 people remaining, you know what I'm saying? They go live happily ever after or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I think people kind of got tired of that old trope. It was popular for like 15 years, but people got tired of it eventually, and you can say that's what happened to him. People just got tired of it. No, I'm not tired of them. I pray every day somebody brings back hood films. I don't know who. I don't really care who. I just hope somebody brings it back. These are, like I said, these are legendary films, and a lot of people can relate to them, man. A lot of people can. And of course, there's Friday. Which is legendary. Friday is the godfather of hood films. Like I said before, my greatest of all time video on Ice Cube. This is probably the greatest hood movie of all time. I put this one and kind of Boys in the Hood and Menace to Society. That'd probably be the top 3. Juice. Depending on how people feel. Again, my personal favorite hood movie is Belly. Well, Friday and Belly. Nas and DMX, of course. T-Boz, here it is right here. T1, T-Boz, Watkins, Method Man, Terrell Hicks. You know what I'm saying? AZ was in this movie. Meth, of course, was in this movie. Baby Boy, of course, which jump-started the career of Mr. Tyrese Gibson and Snoop Dogg. Now, Snoop was also in a film that came out in '01 called Training Day, which, of course, with the legendary actor Denzel Washington and his legendary performances, Detective Sergeant Alonzo Harris. Some people consider that a hood film. I really don't. It's more. It's kind of hard to say what classifies a hood film. Some of them are action films. Some of them are action films just set in the hood. I'll just consider Train Day. Just an action film that took place in South Central LA. Okay, of course, cult classic How High with Method Man and Redman. And the bullshit remake they did with DC Young Fly and Lil Yachty. Nothing against them. How High 2 was a funny movie. I call it a hood classic, no, but it's something enjoyable to watch. DC, of course, is funny as usual. Lil Yachty, he did all right. Okay, of course, it's paid in full with Harlem, with Cameron and Mekhi Phifer. Hustle and Flow. This is probably the greatest Southern hood movie of all time. Now, of course, when I say Southern hood movie, I mean movie that took place in the South. Hood movies that took place in the South. But really, honestly, just, Players Club, which took place, of course, in Atlanta. This movie and at ATL. The greatest hood movie that took place in New York, that was probably Juice, in my opinion. Juice in New Jack City, and of course, On the West Coast, it was probably Friday. Like Four Brothers. I consider this a hood film, even though it's more like a training day. It's an action film that took place in the hood. Of course, this movie took place in Detroit. Of course, starring Tyrese, Mark Wahlberg, and Andre Benjamin, aka Andre 3000. And of course, here's ATL, Last Good Hood film. T.I., Big Boy, Lauren London, Malika and Khadijah Hawk, what I'm saying? Whatever their last names are. T.I. is talking about doing a sequel to this film. I don't think he should. I think first because first of all, I think he's just too old. 40 years old. Okay, no one see your old ass, or Lauren London's old ass. Okay, all due respect to Lauren London. Know what I'm saying? But yeah, if they do an ATL 2, they should do a sequel or a remake. Excuse me. But get some of the new guys in it, like Thugger or Offset. Offset's talking about doing some acting. He was in NCIS LA with LL Cool J, so they'll get Offset in it. Put DC Young Fly in it. But you know what I'm saying? If you're gonna do a remake to this movie, but yeah, man, I miss hood movies. I know all y'all miss hood movies, and they need to bring them back. Okay, like the video, comment down below. What was your favorite hood movie? What do you think is the greatest hood movie of all time? Your top 5. You know what I'm saying? And also let me also say this: the hood films, if you notice, they all took place like in the early '90s. The first couple hood films, they were all take place in Los Angeles because Los Angeles was the top rap scene at the time, the West Coast. That's where you got the Boys in the Hood, the Men's Society, and South Central. Okay, Poetic Justice. Then you got the later '90s, late '90s. Of course, in the early '90s you had Juice in New Jack City. But in the late '90s you get Deep Cover, or what was that movie with Omar Epps? Or Into Deep, excuse me, it's called Into Deep. And then Belly and whatnot. And then at the South took over, you got the Hustle and Flows and the ATLs and whatnot, so that's really where these all come from. But like I said, like the video, comment down below, subscribe, all right? See ya.